Hi and welcome to another episode of Exceptional TV with me, your host, Alex Granger. Our next guest today is Candice Mama, a lady with an exceptional story around forgiveness. So let's get to it. Candice Mama, welcome to Exceptional TV. Welcome to my show. I feel like we should be on the building on the roof dancing like we did the last time.
Oh, this is so full circle. I love it.
Welcome.
I love it. Thank you.
So cool to have you. You look amazing as always.
Thank you. Thank
you. And I must say, I do miss your dance moves now. You don't do much of that anymore on Instagram and on WhatsApp status. I don't see you anymore because you do the dance and then you share these amazing nuggets with us.
Yes.
And, so hopefully we'll talk about that today. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And really just to kickstart, so obviously the viewers want to know, who are you? You know, what qualifies you to come onto this amazing show?
I mean, seriously, what does qualify me to come on this amazing show? Because I was like, oh my gosh, like when you asked me, I was honored, really, because, you know, Exceptional TV stands for everything I believe I stand for, which is, you know, just trying to equip people with the tools to become their greater self.
Absolutely.
You know, so for me, my specific focus has been more on forgiveness and really teaching people how to find the happiness within and really, you know, living a free life. And so for me, that's been my journey, that's been my path, and I've been very blessed in this path.
That's amazing. So we met on Cliff Central when you were still with Cliff Central. You're not there anymore?
I'm not.
What are you doing now?
You know, I've had to really start pinpointing where I'm going to make the biggest difference, and I loved my journey on Cliff Central. I got to meet you, I got to interview incredible people.
I was heartbroken when I was like, she left. I didn't even get a second chance to get back there.
I'm sorry.
Cliff doesn't want to see me. You know, I get relegated to other people. Cliff, if you're watching, when am I coming onto your show? Like
Gareth, listen. No, it was such an incredible part of my life and journey. However, I really needed to focus on, you know, how am I going to really optimize this message of forgiveness and teaching people. So I had to leave in order to be able to travel and do the things I really want to do. So that's been my focus right now, just traveling, teaching people how to let go and be free.
So you were in Europe. I saw amazing pictures. Which country were you in?
Gosh, it was amazing. So I was in Belfast, which I love. It's become like one of my favorite cities. The people there are insane. So I started in Belfast for the Peace and Beyond conference, which was to celebrate.
Isn't there Belfast in South Africa?
There is. And someone.
You're going towards Mpumalanga somewhere. There's a Belfast place.
Yes. And like I remember I told someone, I said, you know, I'm going to Belfast, and they're like, oh, okay, so, you know, like what? And I'm like, no, like,
not this
and
one.
I was confused because I was confused because they're like, okay, well, I'll keep texting you later, and I'm like, no, but I'm gonna be on a plane. Like, I don't understand. He's like, why are you flying to Belfast? Why are you being extra? And I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh,
Belfast, Europe.
Belfast, Europe.
Like
Ireland, people, Ireland.
Like Bethlehem. Anyway.
Yes.
So you were
in
Belfast.
In Belfast. It was insane. It was for the Peace and Beyond conference.
Great.
I had the privilege of being one of the opening speakers on the opening plenary, and it was to celebrate 20 years of the Good Friday Agreement. So I did that, and then I flew to the UK.
Okay.
Went to Carlisle, which is like this beautiful castle. It's called the Rose Castle Foundation. It's a peace and a reconciliation castle, and it's just so peaceful. Like, and it's on the border of Scotland. And then I went to London, and then I flew back home. It was amazing.
So you're enjoying this new journey, right?
I love it.
That's
you know,
amazing.
It's such a privilege, you know. Sometimes I wake up and I say, you know, how did I get so lucky to be able to wake up every day, try and become a catalyst for people's change, but in the meantime also really doing things that I love, like travel and meeting people and really connecting. You know, so I'm very blessed.
We take a lot of things for granted. I mean, you gotta just thank God just for waking up. It's grace, man. You know, it's like you could have slept for keeps. You could not have woken up. A lot of people didn't make it. So every new day is always an opportunity to make a difference and to show love, to be selfless, and to make a difference in somebody else's life. Now, the journey of forgiveness obviously is a I don't know whether is it inspired by a particular incident that took place in your life, or did you see somebody else going through a difficult time and you found your therapy in developing a model or a framework where people can learn how to forgive? What inspired you to get into this space?
Yeah, it was actually my own personal journey. So when I was 9 months, my father was brutally killed by Eugene de Kock, who many people will know as the apartheid assassin, prime evil, so on and so forth. And when I was 23, I had the opportunity to actually sit down with him and meet him, and I extended the branch of forgiveness towards him. And it was just really that moment, seeing his humanity, not seeing a monster in front of me, but seeing a human being who also
how difficult was it facing? I mean, that must have been heart-wrenching, painful. How did you manage the emotions?
For me, there was so many steps before the actual encounter with him. When I was around 16, I was really depressed and suicidal, and I wasn't a good person. I didn't live a good life, let's say. I didn't treat people well, I just lived in rage all the time. And I remember one day a doctor said to me, your body's killing you, really. In not so many words. And that's really when I decided that, I need to change my life, or at least if I'm not going to change my life, I need to try and figure out if it's worth living. And it was really the journey of seeing if my life was worth living that led me to forgiveness, and that led me to forgiving Eugene before I met him. But I never ever thought the opportunity to meet him would arise. So when it did, and I was 23 and I was sitting across this person, it was really, firstly you stop because you're like, oh my goodness, like, have I forgiven this person? Is it truly forgiveness, or did I delude myself? And there's still a feeling inside you that gets stirred up. And as we were talking, and as he told us what happened and why it happened, certain barriers within me really started to drop, because he was just being so sincere and so honest. And after that, I asked him one question that really changed, I think, my whole paradigm, and that changed my life, I think, in a lot of ways. I said, Eugene, I want to say I forgive you, because I do, but first I want to know one thing. Do you forgive yourself? And he kind of mumbled something, and he didn't want to answer. Then he kept quiet. So I said, you didn't answer my question. And he said, every time people come here, that's one thing I hope they never ask me. And he looked away, and there was a tear on the side of his eye, and he dabbed the tear, and he said, when you've done the things I've done, how do you forgive yourself? And I just broke down. I started really crying, and just because all of a sudden I was the victim to him, but we were both victims in that moment, because I realized that this man will never be able to live a free life again. So that's really what led me to this work.
You paint a very sincere, authentic, very deep picture, and I don't think the viewers can even get to grips of being in that environment during that time. You must have been very apprehensive. How did you build courage to actually meet him? Because courage is one of the things I talk about a lot. I wrote about that in my book Force, and it's easy just to say gain courage and develop courage, but in the moment, emotions, we emotional beings, can take over. How did you develop the courage to actually open that door, step in an environment, look the murderer of your dad in the eye, and actually say, I forgive you, having forgiven him already? I'm like, what stopped you from going back into that, the previous emotions?
Of course, it's, courage is such a crucial thing to survive in this world, especially if you want to do anything with your life. But courage is really facing what you're really scared of, because you can't have courage in the absence of fear. You are afraid, but you do it anyway. And for me, it was just, will I regret this moment if I don't do it? And that was my catalyst. That was my decision making. It was, if I don't see this man for the rest of my life, I'll ask myself.
You always have questions.
Did I forgive him? Why didn't I want to see him? Did I silently hold resentment? And it wasn't about anyone else. It was more about, am I going to face myself after this? And when the answer was no, I thought, I've got to do this. This is going to be something.
You spoke a bit earlier about growing up, not being a great person, and going through a very difficult time. We know in the South African narrative right now, depression is a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, recently we know of the professor in Cape Town who took his own life. We know of people like, who's the guy from, what was the TV guy? Robin
Bourdain, the chef, Anthony Bourdain.
Anthony Bourdain.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, one of my favorite from Mork and Mindy times. From what's that movie? Oh, I have to do this.
Guy.
I have to do this for the movie. He was on. It's like an army, a war thingy, and he was like the DJ.
Oh
and
yes.
And he was like, Good morning.
Yes. Vietnam.
Yes. Good morning, Vietnam. And the weather outside. Take a peek outside. That's the weather. He was amazing.
He was lovely.
And what we see in terms of people, because people put up a facade,
100%.
but we're dying on the inside. What message would you have for those kind of people going through that kind of distress?
You know, it's really about addressing self, you know, and it's being able to acknowledge the state you're in. And I think for me, having gone through mental, you know, issues and in terms of depression and just, you know, sometimes depression is circumstantial. Sometimes depression is just a mental imbalance or chemical imbalance. And, you know, we never know what causes our mental situations to occur, but it's always about remaining present and saying, I'm not okay. And really checking in with yourself. I think it's a constant check-in. You've got to be like, no, I'm not okay. You know, and it's almost that soldiering through, that feeling of I have to push through no matter what. And people tell you, oh, you're so strong because you don't cry and you don't feel emotions. Whereas on the other side, you're like, no, actually, I'm not that strong. I'm breaking apart. It's just I don't have anyone to talk to. You know, so I'd say check in with yourself and talk to someone you trust, someone you love, someone you know has your greater, you know. I don't think it's necessarily something you need to share with everyone and say, you know, because some people will make it worse or some people will stigmatize it.
Preach about it.
Exactly. And some people will stigmatize it and be like, ooh, that person's got like a mental, you know, issue. But if you've got someone you love and trust, and if you don't, then seek a therapist, you know, look for someone that you can at least just unleash to, get it out of you, because that's what the problem is. What I found, at least in my situation, is the bottling up of emotion. And especially I find that in communities of color where it's not acknowledged, you know, depression is not something that's acknowledged. You just get through it. So I'd say,
especially with men as well,
especially men, you've got to be strong. You've got to have this, you know, faith that you, but I feel like there's a lot of strength in vulnerability. I actually think that's where our deepest strength lies, in being vulnerable, because that's the hardest, you know, challenges us.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been through depression myself for years and popped pills to deal. Got on stage as a speaker and had to faked happiness, because here I am to motivate and to encourage and to inspire people. Yet I'm a broken vessel myself. But it was that place, the stage, my happiest place, that actually gave me the confidence and built me up again and made me realize that life is worth living. With living. Let's get a bit happier. What do you do? What do you do for fun? What do you do for fun besides having an awesome haircut, which is inspired by what? Like, what's with these crazy haircuts, girl? Okay,
firstly, what makes me happy is just honestly being alive, being able to share my life with people. People make me happy, and dancing. I mean, I love dancing. Whenever I feel down, literally, I'll just put on a good jam and I'll just start moving and just like jamming to it.
I see you there doing
you can't. It feels to me that you can't be unhappy when your body's moving, and you're just taking in it, because it brings you back to the present moment, and you realize that in this moment nothing's wrong. You know, yes, in the future my thoughts reflect the future, or the past things are wrong, but here nothing. So I love that. As far as my hair is concerned,
I want to hear
it was a tragedy. It started as a tragedy. I think it was a couple of years ago. I think actually going for 6 years now.
What happened?
I always just have this long hair, and I was actually very conservative, and I wanted to like fit in with everyone, and I wanted people to like me, and I wanted to be pretty, and so I'd have this long hair. One day I decided that I'm going to go do my hair, and I put chemical processing in my hair, and then I double chemically process my hair. So as she's washing my hair, I'm like, something doesn't feel right. She's like, no, it's nothing. But I could hear in her voice, something ain't right. As she's blow drying my hair, it just fell, and I was like, oh, this is me now. This is me. I'm either going bald or I'm going to try something. So I just decided to shave the sides. And initially I was like, oh my gosh, people think I'm a man.
Like, I don't want to be a man.
Exactly. I was walking around and I was like, what?
That was adding to it. Like, whoa. Only men say whoa.
And eventually, like, it grew on me, and I was like, let me style it. Let me just figure it out. And now it's really become a trademark. People will see me
brand.
like, people will see me in Pretoria and be like, I know you.
Yeah.
and I'm like, my hair? And they're like, yes, remember we met? And I'm like, you remember the hair? I got you. So I love it now. I love it.
Actually, like what you said just before that, when you're talking about what you're doing and how you use dance as a way,
yes.
and you said you can't not be happy if your body keeps moving.
Yes.
And it actually reminds me of what Winston Churchill once said. He said, if you're going through difficult, I don't know what his words, I'm paraphrasing. If you're going through hell, keep moving.
Yes.
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 And I've added to it, because I've said, if you're going through hell, if you're going through fire or you're going through hell, keep moving. There's no time to stop and take a selfie. You're going to burn. Right?
That's true.
And that's so true,
that's
right?
Really
because some of us are like that. And in fact, it's become a thing around the world where people would rather take their phones and video record death instead of getting involved to save a life.
Yeah.
Isn't that sad?
But we're just so not present, you know, and I think that's our biggest downfall right now.
Yeah.
We're not present. We're not appreciating. You know, people will be in this moment, but they're thinking about tomorrow and this and that, and I should take a selfie and I should take pictures. And we're so obsessed with making our lives look good instead of making our lives actually
be good. Yeah.
Exactly, you know, like live a life that actually feels good on the inside as well as look good. If it looks great, amazing.
Just be real.
But rather live an authentic life, because I think what actually causes, you know, a lot of sadness and emotions is when you're living an inauthentic life, because you're showing all of this on Instagram and you're like, I'm so happy, but inside you're like, I'm so happy.
That's no. Even the smiles, you can see the smiles, because I always say, if you're going to smile, the smile is in the eyes, it's not in the mouth.
That is it, right? And that's how people connect and feel and say, this person's either genuinely happy or they're genuinely sad, you know, but they're faking it, they're trying to get by. Yeah.
Anyway, we're on set with Candice Mama. Candice is an amazing lady. Met her on Cliff Central some time ago. I think it was last year, and here we are on set. So we're going to close off now, but I just want you to share, just in your own words, 3 key things around forgiveness that you think are important. Maybe things that you've shared on the various platforms where you've spoken that you think would make an indelible mark on our viewers.
Okay. So the first thing I'd say is acknowledge your pain. So you have to, before you can fix it, before you can address it, before you can forgive it, you got to know what it is. And you've got to not lie to yourself. You've got to be very authentic about, this is what's causing me pain. Whether it's when you were 8, when you were 15, you know, no one has the right to say your pain doesn't exist because you feel it, you know, so feel it, acknowledge it. And the second one would be, like, after acknowledging it, tell yourself that you are making an active step to move forward, you know, and understand that this thing that you've told yourself is holding you back. It is a burden, it's a baggage, it's not serving you. It really isn't.
It's self-talk.
And if anything, it's destroying what can be. So you're carrying this baggage on your back, and you want to be happy, you want to be lighter, you want to move forward and achieve things, but this thing's just dragging you, and it's like, you're not worthy, you know, you're not enough, you're not going to achieve it, you're not lovable. And guess what? Life starts to bring those things into play and say, well, you're not worthy, you know, look at what you're carrying, look at where, instead of looking at it as a negative, be like, look at how strong I am, look at what I've overcome, look at the hurdles I've had to face, yet here I am. And the third thing would be, you know, just feel. Allow yourself through the process of forgiving. So now you've acknowledged that you feel the pain. You've now made the decision, conscious decision, to move past it. But now feel, you know, through every step, feel it. Don't rush yourself to the end point. Feel the sadness, you know, even if it happened when you were 8 and you're now 30. Feel it. Cry if you have to cry. Really release it. You know, because it's only through acknowledging and releasing that pain and that burden through emotion that you can cry and be like, okay, I'm done. I'm through it. I'm feeling okay, and I've got the strength and the energy to move forward. You know, and then give yourself a break. I know this is a bonus one, but just cut yourself some slack. You know, we're not here to be perfect. Exactly.
Cut is slack.
We're not.
See, my outfit's got its cut here.
We were cutting the slack. But But really, you're not here to be perfect, you know, and no one can tell you like it's going to take you 30 days. I wish I could give you that magic pill and say, take this pill, 21 days, you're going to be amazing. It's not going to happen, you know, but I can guarantee you that every day is going to get better. And one day you're going to wake up and you're going to look back and you're going to be, wait, I'm a different person.
Absolutely.
I'm a happier person.
Absolutely.
You're going to think back on that memory that you've forgiven and be like, oh, I can think about it without it causing me pain, without the emotions flooding back, because you're never going to forget it. But when you remember it, at least it won't hold you hostage anymore. So those are my...
Candice, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing a very important topic in the current narrative of South Africa, and definitely I believe it's something that's a global phenomenon, the idea of depression and forgiveness and pain, and also for sharing your story that I didn't know and how you've overcome. Really amazing. And we hope to have you back sometime soon.
Be back.
I won't be leaving Exceptional TV. That's mine. But we'll have you back and we'll have another
I'll do a dance next
We'll do
time.
another,
I'll be
yes,
like,
maybe we'll start with a dance thing, do the whole thing. But thank you so much. Really appreciate
it. Thank you for having me, Alex. It's such a privilege to be here, so thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's it. It's a wrap. That was Candice Mama. You know what you need to do. The things are at the bottom here. And if you want to get in touch, it's alex@exceptionaltv.co.za. Until next time, I'm out.